Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Players Own channel. It has been some time, but we are back once again for the Premier League predictions for Game Week 12. It is flying through the season. International break, we're back at it once again. A lot of exciting games to come from this weekend's action, obviously highlighted by Manchester City taking on Tottenham. We've also got Ruben Amorim's first game in charge of Manchester United, and can Arsenal get back to form as they host Nottingham Forest as well. A lot of exciting games to get into. Before we get into that, we have to look back to last time out and last time in our predictions. We came into that match on 67 of our prediction points and added 7 more in the previous game week, taking our total 74 across the opening 11 game week. So not too bad, a little bit short of what I wanted to get to, but hoping to bounce back here this week and get some great predictions for this weekend's action. Make sure, guys, if you're new to the channel, please like, comment, subscribe, and let's now get straight to the predictions for the Premier League Match Week 12. Our first game is the Enzo Maresca derby. Leicester host Chelsea, and what could be a very interesting and difficult game for the Blues in this one here. Look at the Foxes. They come off the back of that disappointing 3-0 loss at Old Trafford, where they really showed their lack of creativity is going to hurt this side here. And I feel like yet again this game, it's going to be a key figure to how the game plays out. You know, Leicester, a team that at their best with Facundo Bonanotte on the ball, can be very, very dangerous going forward, but really lack the ability to control games, control possession, but also make the most of that possession there. And then against a very vulnerable Chelsea backline, they'll want to get on the front foot early. Looking at Jamie Vardy in this game here, stretch that Chelsea backline, Facundo Bonanotte alongside Mavididi, on those sort of wide areas as well, to really get at this Chelsea defence. I think this is the most vulnerable part of the side, and we know they can score goals. Obviously, Chelsea come with back-to-back results where they haven't won a game off the back of that 1-1 draw versus Arsenal. They were impressive, but just couldn't get over the line. And I think in this game here, it's going to be important they be more clinical in front of goal. Normally, scoring for them is their avenue to goal. Maresca came out midweek and said, I'm not worried about defence. We're an attacking side. We score goals. I think, and to be very simple and basic for Chelsea, Cole Palmer. Get him involved, get him as many touches of the football as possible, and get him to be central to your side's play. Because whenever he's heavily involved, magical things happen. And for Chelsea, when he's not heavily involved, they can drift out of games, and that attacking sharpness in the final third can slowly drift away. As I said, 12 goals in their last 5 games in all competitions. They're a very dangerous side going forward. I think that's led by those 2 in midfield as well. Lavia and Caicedo have been phenomenal this season, and they'll be pivotal yet again to win that midfield battle, get the ball moving forward, shut down like Bonanotte, Mavididi, these sort of players like to operate in those half spaces and tight areas and get Chelsea moving forward. If Chelsea can deny Leicester the football, deny Leicester a lot of possession of the game, I can't imagine them having any avenue into this game here. I've gone with the Chelsea 3-1 win. We know Leicester like to score, especially at home. I think Chelsea have all the avenues to win this game of football, and I see them dominating this game here with Enzo Maresca returning to the King Power. We're at Craven Cottage for our next game as Fulham host Wolves, and what could be one of the more entertaining, a bit of a goal fest to come from the weekend's action. Fulham have gone on an unbeaten run of 3 games and come off the back of that 2-0 win versus Crystal Palace. And it's pretty clear to say they're a very dominant side at home, Fulham, but they like to go on these blocks of runs. They like to streak 3 or 4 wins or 3 or 4 games unbeaten, followed by 2 losses on the bounce, and they'll bounce back yet again. So I'm really interested to see how they go here in this game here. 3 games unbeaten. Can they make that 4, potentially 5 and 6, and grow a bit of an extended streak here and push up towards those European places? It's going to be a really dangerous game for them because we know how good and how much skillful Wolves are going forward. I think it's all going to stem from that midfield area for Fulham. Can Sander Berge, Andreas Pereira in that deep lying position, can they break the game up, prevent the likes of Gomez and Cunha driving the ball forward for Wolves? If Sarabi's on the pitch, close down him and deny balls into him, because his trickery is very dangerous for sides. It's going to be really important that the Fulham midfield and especially the deep lying players do a really, really good job, which is winning the ball back and then getting Fulham going forward in their own right. And equally so is the wide players. Nelson, Iwobi, even Emil Smith-Rowe, the number 10 there, if he drifts out wide. It's important they get forward and stretch those Wolves fullbacks. The likes of the Nelson Semedos who like to get high up the pitch. Ait Nouri, who can also play in there many points in time as well. You're going to have to get at these players and really force them to run 2 ways, because sometimes they can get caught out high up the pitch, and that's an avenue towards goal for Fulham as well. So really important they utilise those wide flanks. Looking at Wolves, a massive win. 2-0 versus Southampton last time out. We know goals aren't their problem. 10 goals in the last 5 games. They've had consecutive 2-2 draws prior to that. there's attacking talent. Matheus Cunha is the key. He's the cog, gets things ticking for this Wolves side. 9 big chance created this season. That's third highest in the Premier League. He's obviously going to be pivotal to this side, as he is in every single week for this Wolves side. Obviously, Strand Larsen up top. He'll need to be clinical. Fulham are a very solid defensive unit, so when they get the chances, Wolves, you've got to take it if you want to win this game of football, especially on the road. And I said it earlier, it's about those fullbacks. Totti, Semedo, if ain't Nuri's in that fullback position, be accountable defensively. I like how they go forward, but you've got to be able to track back and hold off those Fulham wide players, especially how talented and how much great form those Fulham wide players have been in. For me, it's going to be dictated by how solid Wolves are defensively. That's how the way this game will go. I see them not being very solid defensively, and I see this being a back-and-forth sort of pinball type affair. I've gone with a 3-2 Fulham win here. They protect their home ground. Wolves yet again challenge a team, but just can't get over the line for me. We move up to Merseyside. Everton host Brentford in our next game here. It's going to be really intriguing on this one here because we know what Everton bring to the table. That defensive identity has been refound this season. Only one loss in the last 7 games in all competitions. A really strong performance on the road last time out. A bit more attacking drive in that game. But I want to see more from Decore. I want to see a little bit more from Iliman Ndiaye. And also, I think, most importantly, is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He seems to fade in and out of games too much for me. Get him on the ball, get him involved, get crossed into the box earlier, and see if he can not get on top of a team here. Brentford are a team that really do well at home, but really struggle on the road. But we know they love a great and a quick early start to a game. So for Everton, it's really important you start the game strong. Start on the front foot, force Brentford back a little bit. It doesn't have to be relentless attacking football, but just dictate the game a little bit more and don't allow Brentford to get comfortable, especially with the talent out midfield there, Janelt, Norgard, and co, and how they can really get in control of games and start playing that side's attacking football. Look at Everton also. It's really important that back four stays solid. Hopefully Tarkowski can partner up with Branthwaite. Branthwaite looks a little bit underdone. He might play, he might miss, but those two in the heart of the centre back and the back four are going to be pivotal for me. If they can stay solid, if they can deny the talented Brentford forwards clear chances, Everton have a chance to get a goal on the counter-attack and nick a massive 3 points in their season here. Look at Brentford come off the back of that 3-2 win, an entertaining win over Bournemouth last time out. And as I've said a lot this season, the identity has changed for Brentford this year. It's been a more of attacking philosophy. And I think yet again here, it's going to be really, really important that they get the likes of Damsgaard, Janelt to set up the likes of Mbeumo and Visser going forward, because these two have been in fantastic form. Obviously, Visser 2 goals last time out, and Mbeumo has been pivotal throughout the whole season. And they've struggled defensively. No clean sheet in their last 11 games. It's all about goals and going forward. So with that being said, I think Everton bring that defensive identity, and I think they'll hold it in this game here. I can't see Brentford baking down this Everton side on the road, and I can't see Everton scoring a goal themselves. So I'm backing in a 0-0 draw with that all being said. I think Everton will get an important point. They'll want the point. And at Goodison Park, there's not many teams that can go there and attack at will. So I'm going with a 0-0 draw in this one. We move back to London and the Emirates as Arsenal host Nottingham Forest. 2 teams towards the pointy end of the table. 2 teams desperately wanting a result in many regards. Arsenal have struggled in recent weeks, but the return of Martin Odegaard has sort of breathed a breath of fresh air for this unit here and sort of rejuvenated the side in many regards. They were okay versus Chelsea. Unfortunately, end to come away with a 1-1 draw. There's late chances there, but have gone 3 games in all competitions without a win. They'll want to win here, and being at home, they can definitely get that thing. And I think it's going to come down to the supporting players, the supporting cast. Thomas Partey, Gabriel Martinelli, Kai Havertz. Can they support the likes of Bukayo Saka, Martin Odegaard, Declan Rice to be at their best? Because I feel like in recent weeks, it's their supporting cast that's really let the side down. Saka's led the league in big chance created. He's an absolute machine in terms of goals and assists at this current point in time. Declan Rice has improved as the weeks have gone on and being that real solid rock in midfield. We know how good Odegaard can be in terms of chance creation, but can Kai Havertz put the chances away? Can Martinelli put his chances away? Can Partey really be a facilitator going forward and setting the game up for Arsenal? Because all 3 of them have really struggled in recent weeks. I'm looking to them to stand up here against a really, really talented Nottingham Forest side. And I think for Arsenal, really important you get in the front foot early, you get a goal early, and you get in control of this game here. Because the longer the game goes, whether it being 0-0 or if Nottingham Forest score first, I just see them as a very vulnerable side mentally right now, and it could all collapse on them. And look at Nottingham Forest. Yes, it was a poor 3-1 loss last time out in Newcastle, but Surprisingly, they've been incredible on the road. 11 points from their opening 5 games away from home in the Premier League. They've travelled really, really well, and it's because of that counter-attacking system. They'll use it yet again in this game here. Dominguez and Yates, those hard workers sitting in deep, breaking up the play or forcing Arsenal to make mistakes and then springing the counter-attack. Alanga, Hudson-Odoi in the wide areas, Chris Wood clinical up top. They will beat you using that style of football. They can travel to many places. We've seen them do it away at Stamford Bridge 2 times in the last 2 years where they've utilised that system. Nuno likes it, the players like it, and have really, really worked this system here. You know, they're a team that travels well. They're a team that's dangerous with their pace in the final third, so Arsenal have to be wary. With that being said, though, I do back them in. They need the result. They're going to get it in this game here. I've gone with a 3-1 Arsenal win. Goals will come. Saka, Ødegaard, heavily involved, and Arsenal will get back on track this season. Our next game is a South Coast all affair. It is Bournemouth hosting Brighton, and this is another game I am super excited for from the weekend's action. 2 very entertaining teams, 2 very attacking teams at times, and we've got a battle between 2 young managers, and I really, really like that here. Looking at Bournemouth first, obviously come off the back of that 3-2 loss to Brentford away from home, one of the toughest places to play. But we know how well Bournemouth play at home. They obviously had that miraculous 3 weeks prior to that, beating Arsenal, beating City, getting a draw away at Aston Villa. We know, though, they play the Vitality Stadium so well. So it's going to be really difficult for Brighton. And I think, for me, a constant throughout the season, when Bournemouth have played well, when they've gotten these big results, it's been that defensive identity. It's been that back four being nice and tight. Ilyas Albani alongside Marco Senesi being compact, being strong, man marking, breaking any crosses into the box up. And then for me, really, really important in this game is Adam Smith alongside Milos Kerkez at the fullback positions. You've got Adingra and Matoma who are super dangerous for Brighton, and they've been throughout the whole season with their direct running, with their skillful running and ability to get in behind, jinking inside, going on the bar line. They've caused havoc throughout the whole season and were really important last time out for Brighton as well. So for me, for Bournemouth, they want to get the result. They want to protect that home ground there. It's really important that back four at its best. That's your foundation. That's where you build upon. So you got Tyler Adams in that midfield there with Christie being suspended, so it's going to be a little bit disjointed in there. But we know how good they can be going forward on the counter-attack or when they're in control of games and preventing teams having chances on their goals. Semenyo, Kluivert, and obviously Evan Nilsson do the rest going forward. But I'm focused on that back line. Can they be strong? Can they be solid to deny like Ruter, Mitoma, Adingra, as well as Danny Welbeck up top there for a very dangerous attacking Brighton side who come with the back of that miraculous 2-1 win versus Man City. The confidence is at an all-time high for them. But previous to that, they went a really rough set of form. And I think for Brighton, it's really inconsistent in performances and in-game performances as well. And that's why I just can't back them in this game here. I like the wing play. Adingra, Matoma have been fantastic. Hinshaw in midfield has been superb on the ball, driving Brighton forward. And that was their key in their win versus Manchester City. But they fade in and out of games, and you can't do that against a Bournemouth side, especially at the Vitality. With that being said, though, I do back in Bournemouth. Because of that reason only, they're a more consistent side. They're well structured under Andoni Iraola. I think Fabian Hertz's side, they can be dangerous when they're on top, but if they don't strike when the iron's hot, they can fall out of games and the opposition can get in control. And as such, I see Bournemouth getting the win. 2-1 for me. Going to be a real tight battle, but in the end, the cherry is getting on top. Our next game takes us to Villa Park. It's Aston Villa and Crystal Palace, a tale of 2 sides desperately needing a win. Looking at Aston Villa, a tough loss last time out to Liverpool, but they have been struggling in all competitions recently. 2 wins in their last 5 games, only scoring 3 goals in that time. That attacking style of football, that fluidity in the final third has just disappeared in recent weeks for Aston Villa. And I feel like it's going to have to be a bounce back result here at Villa Park. I'm looking to that side in the forward regions. Ollie Watkins, get more involved. Drop in and get the ball, spin in behind, get the run in behind, try and get in behind that back line. Leon Bailey has to lift for me, being really poor considering his form this time last season. A little bit more needed from Jacob Ramsey compared to his performance last time out. Even Morgan Rogers there as well, because I feel like the 2 deep line players, Tillemans and Onana, have been fantastic. They have actually made things happen. They've tipped the game over. They've been consistent throughout the season. But you need more contribution from that front line there. The defence have been fantastic. And Martinez in goal has been superb. Those 2 deeper midfielders, fantastic as well. But what happens in the final third? What happens when a team implements a low block? Crystal Palace back 3, back 5 when they sit in defensively. How are you going to break down that back line there? It's going to be really important that Bailey, Ramsey, and McGinn, even if he pushes forward, are at their best to break down this Crystal Palace back line. Looking at the Palace side, they've been a shadow of themselves this season. They've also struggled going forward themselves. 5 goals in their last 5 games. That attacking style of football has disappeared. That freedom, that flowing football in the final third has gone away. They've had a lot of disjointed performances. They've either attacked really well and defended poorly, or defended really well, but attacked really poorly. And I think in this game here, with Eze not being available, obviously, Elise sold in the summer, Kamada, Ismail Assar, Jean-Philippe Mateta, you have to stand up in this game here. Show us you can link up in the final third. I know it's a lot of new players. You haven't quite gelled, but it's about time you guys stand up, because Crystal Palace's football last season, when Glasser was firing for the side, it was great defensive work, midfield transitional play, but the front line was firing. It was constant movement. It was a telepathic link in the final third and freedom to go express yourself, and it was working. There was goals in the Crystal Palace game, but we haven't quite seen that this season. That back 5 is holding up really well. I'm enjoying to see the improvement there, but the improvement in the midfield and higher up the pitch and those sort of regions there, it's gone backwards, and you really need them to be at their best in this game here. I can't see them touching a glove at all on Aston Villa in this game here. They need to bounce back, Villa. They've got the talent, they've got the performers, and at home, really tough place to go play football. So I'm backing Villa in here. 3-0 for me. They've got the talent, they've got the quality, they need to bounce back, and they need to keep the pressure in the European positions. They'll get a massive 3-0 result here for me. Our next game is the blockbuster. Up north, the Saturday night kickoff is Manchester City and Tottenham Hotspur. This one is always a classic. I think Spurs' rival is Man City because they seem to always get the results over them. And this is going to be huge for both sides. Both sides desperately needing a win in their respective fights for top 4 and for the title. Both sides underperforming in recent weeks. And both managers under a little bit of pressure for different types of reasons. Looking at Man City first, a little bit of a crisis. Pep Guardiola's lost 4 games in a row off the back of that 2-1 loss away to home to Brighton last time out. And it's pretty clear to see where they're falling short. It's that attacking football, that attacking fluidity, that spark, that sharpness in the final third is not there. 5 goals in their last 5 games in all competitions. Erling Haaland finding the back of that in some games, but not looking his normal self. That fluidity, Foden, Silva, their impact on the game hasn't quite been the same. Savinho hasn't looked as bright as he did at the start of the season. And for me, the big underperformer has to be Ilkay Gundogan, and in recent weeks, Nunez as well. Those two have to lift their performances. Whilst Doku's out, whilst Grealish is out, these guys have to be much better. Kevin De Bruyne, in and out of the side as well, inconsistent as his fitness. Someone else has to stand up and help this side out. So, especially Ilkay Gundogan. I know he's a little bit older now. I know he's had a year away, but Pep needs you. And Man City doesn't need him. He needs to be much better. Erling Haaland has to be more clinical in front of goal. They're not the same attacking team. They don't get these overwhelming amounts of chances in front of goal anymore. You're going to make most of your chances when you get it. You're going to be smarter on the ball. So those players, Nunez, Haaland, and Ilkay Gundogan in particular, have to stand up. And also Kyle Walker. The age has got the better of him, I know, but you've got to be better defensively. Looks so weak at the back right now. Rico Lewis having to push in the midfield at times or playing the opposite fullback position. But that back four has been obliterated with the injury. So you've got to be much more solid, because this Spurs side, attacking football is their DNA. And if you're going to be weak defensively, it could get very ugly in this game here. Looking at that Spurs side, a very Spursy performance last time, like that 2-1 loss at home to Ipswich. And it's been a tale of his Ange Postecoglou time in charge. Great performances against big teams, really underwhelming against some poor teams, and a lack of consistency throughout. And I feel like yet again, it's Kulusevski or bust with the Spurs side. So I'm looking at other players, especially in midfield areas, to stand up. Pat Matasar, for me, has to be much better. Yves Bissouma should come in with Bentancur missing with suspension. Has to be better. Can we see James Maddison included now with some of the rotation in the side? Can Heung-min Son be better in front of goal? Solanke more involved. You need some more contributors outside of just Dejan Kulusevski. And obviously, with Van der Ven out, Dragusin has to be much more improved at the back. He looked all out at sea in recent weeks since coming into the side. He needs to improve defensively as well, because you know how dangerous City can be going forward, especially with Erling Haaland up there as well. So it's a tale of two sides that are both in poor form, both lacking confidence, both needing a bounce-back result. And I see it being a 2-2 draw. With that being said, two teams that are going to go score some goals. They're both quite vulnerable defensively. I see each other canting both sides out. Tottenham have a bit of a bit over the top of Man City at this current point in time, so they will have that mental edge going to this game here. But I see, as I said, both sides just can't each other out, and it being a 2-2 draw in this game. Our next game sees the Saints host Liverpool, and I can't see this game being much of a contest. Southampton were good last time out versus Wolves, but they lost yet again 2-0. Now they've managed that one win so far in the Premier League this season. It's going to simply come down to how they go about managing when they're on the ball. Liverpool like to give up possession a little bit more these days under Arne Slot. So how can Southampton play on the ball? They're a possession-based team. They like to have a lot of the football. Don't give away the ball playing out from the back. Don't give away the ball in dangerous areas in the midfield area. And you've got to look to that back line to be solid. Harwood, Bellis in there, Stevens, Bednarek, Walker-Peters, Manning, and left wing back. You've got to be compact. You've got to be super, super switched on, because we know Salah, Diaz, Jota's in there, Nunes. They can pounce on nothing. They can pounce on half a chance and make things happen. You look back to Liverpool's last result, 2-0 over Aston Villa. They weren't dominant by any stretch of the imagination, but they made their chances count. Mo Salah's in fantastic form. He'll be pivotal yet again. Luis Diaz will be vital yet again from those wide areas. They've been both very clinical and very dangerous going forward. I think for me also, in the number 10 role, Curtis Jones has been a standout this season. Super dynamic, links up the game well, sits in the number 10 position and just pulls the strings for Liverpool. And he's smart on the ball, second to none right now, and making Liverpool really, really dangerous. They're literally the best team in the competition by a long way. 13 goals in the last 5 games in all competitions, and just immaculate defensively. 1 goal conceded in the last 3 games, conceded only 6 goals throughout the Premier League this season. Van Dijk and Konate have been fantastic at the back. Koeman Kelleher has come in another fantastic job in Alisson's absence, and as such, I just see them dominating yet again. I've gone with a 3-0 dominant result here away from home at Southampton as they continue their charge at the top of the Premier League table. Our next game is super intriguing. Ipswich, the Tractor Boys, host Manchester United. First game under Ruben Amorim. It's going to be a very, very interesting game to see how both sides line up. Do Ipswich go with the back 4 or the back 5? Do Man United play with the back 3? Do they play with the back 4? A lot of questions has to be asked about this game here, so it's very hard to predict. Looking at Ipswich first, obviously they come off the back of their first win in the Premier League, 2-1 on the road to Spurs. Massive result, Delap on the score sheet yet again. And I feel like Sam Morsey, the captain midfield, controlling the pace of the game, breaking the game up, being that leader in the centre of the park, and then also Delap up top is going to be pivotal in this game here for different reasons. Delap obviously being clinical in front of goal, taking the chances that fall his way. Morsey causing havoc in that midfield, throwing his body about, breaking the game up in a cold Sunday game. He could just be that leader to stand up and get things going for Ipswich. And I think for this Ipswich side, it's about not playing with fear. Get on the front foot, attack this United side. We saw a few weeks back when West Ham, who've been poor all season, attacked, took the game to Manchester United, and they got all 3 points. United are vulnerable. When teams attack them, they collapse, they fall apart, and there's chances to get all 3 points. A big shout out to Sammy Smodics as well. He's been fantastic this season. He could cause danger from that wide area as well. And also really, really important for the side is the fullbacks. Leif Davis, Axel Tuanzebe, with United likely to play that back 3 that can be a 5. There'll be a lot of overlapping movement in the wide areas. You've got to be able to shut that down and then go and attack in the opposite way. So big games, those fullbacks for Ipswich. Looking at United again, we don't know how they're going to play. Is it going to be a back 5, a 3, a 4? We don't know how they're going to operate it under Ruben Amorim in his first game in charge. But you're going to get one thing, and that's going to be Bruno Fernandes. Whenever he plays at his best, we've seen it in recent weeks, United thrive. 12 goals in the last 5 games under Ruud van Nistelrooy. Goals have come more consistently. Attacking football has been more coherent. United need that to continue to this game here. A tough game on the road against a very hostile environment there at Ipswich. It's really important that Bruno Fernandes has his mark in this game. He has his fingerprints on everything that happens for Manchester United, because if that happens, United normally get positive results. And it's really, really important that back 3, or if it is back 4, it should be okay. But this is back 3. They play super compact. They're comfortable enough on the ball, and they're not getting stretched too easily by this Ipswich side here. A lot of things to juggle around in terms of key features in this game. It's hard to really get an insight into what's going to happen. But what I think is going to happen is United are going to get a tough, hard-fought win. Backing a 2-1 United result here to get the line in Ruben Amorim's first game in charge. Our final game is up north. Newcastle host West Ham. And I think this could be the end of Julian Lopetegui. Eddie Howe's side got back to winning ways. 3-1 result last time away at Nottingham Forest. A really difficult result. Tough place to normally go and play football, unless it's this season. But Nottingham Forest has been in great form, and they got a massive result there. And I think this turnaround in form and the turnaround in performances has been led by that midfield there. The energy inserted to that side with likes of Willock in there alongside the Longstaff, who just work and provide a spark in that midfield, get Newcastle winning the ball and pushing the side forward. And Joel Linton in a more of an attacking position out on that flank there, supporting that midfield, has been fantastic as well. Getting assists in his game, getting goals as well, and has been a really dangerous figure in recent weeks in a more progressive position. So this Newcastle side, they're back to their best. I feel like they've got that energy, they've got that spark yet again. Just important they be a little bit more consistent defensively. When that defensive identity is reinforced, when it's at its best, when that back four look nice and compact, they're not making many mistakes, that's when Newcastle are at their best. Livramento and Hall looking much better in recent weeks. That'll be a catalyst yet again for Newcastle getting this result over West Ham. Looking at West Ham, again, really poor versus Everton, that 0-0 result. 4 points in the last 4 games. The pressure's on them here. If they get well and truly beaten, I think Lopetegui gets sacked. I think it's pretty clear for me. You've got to get more from Guido Rodriguez, Thomas Souček, Lucas Paquetá. That spine of the side has been so poor this season. Lack creativity, lacking fight, endeavour. Because other players around them have been okay. The fullbacks have been okay for me. Bowen and Somerville have brought spark and energy to the side. But outside of that, it's been really dull. So I think for West Ham, go out there and play hard. Play with creativity. Play with some dare, some freedom. Want to take the game on. Because if they don't do that, I think Lopetegui, it's time for him to go. It has not worked with West Ham. They've been super poor. And I can't see them getting a result here. I think Newcastle wiped the floor with them in this game here. Too much attacking talent. West Ham too vulnerable defensively and have no identity going forward at this current point in time. Go with the Newcastle 3-0 win. They continue their improvement in form and try and push their way up the Premier League table. With that being said, ladies and gents, that brings this prediction video for match week 12 to an end. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What is your favourite game for the weekend? Who's the key players? And what are some of your results? What are some of your predictions? Let me know that in the comment section down below. I love the interaction we have in these videos here. I'm sorry to the late upload. I've had so much going on, but I'm back on the channel. Podcast will be back twice a week. Prediction videos will be back. Reaction videos will be back. And we're in the Christmas run now, so super excited for that. Absolutely love doing these prediction videos, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, smash a like on it, subscribe to the Players Zone channel for more videos like these, and press that post notification bell so you know we upload here on the channel. With that being said, have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the upcoming weekend's action of football, and I'll see you guys in the video very soon. Till next time, guys. See you later.